Death taxes and Don freaky Muhlbach. At least that's what we thought. A legend was released by the Detroit Lions. Whew! Man, before we jump into the context of this video, let me know under the pinned comment, do you approve of Don Muhlbach, Lions long snapper, being cut? The guy's been on this team for a long time. Let me know why for yes and for no. That is the pinned question for this video. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Don Muhlbach. Speculation surrounding his cut because it was such an odd timing with his birthday and everything. We're going to talk about the Lions getting a quarterback, Jordan Ta'amu, formerly of XFL's as last as Washington football team. We're going to be talking about the new linebacker the Lions picked up, as well as Levi Onwuzurike makes his debut in pads, and it was good. We're going to talk about Khalif Raymond playing in the number ones again 2 days in a row. Lastly, and surely not least, we're going to get into the Lions versus Pittsburgh Steelers, what we want to see, and why this game potentially could be important for the Detroit Lions. First off and foremost, Don Muhlbach, Lions long snapper, been with the team for 2 decades, was cut by the Detroit Lions on his 40th birthday. Seems extremely odd timing considering the fact this was getting down to 85, not 53. And it was on his birthday, and he played literally with Dan Campbell in 2008. This guy has been on special teams for a long time and doing it at a high level with this football team. I mean, we all know the saying, death taxes and Don freaking Muhlbach. So why was he cut on his birthday? Why was he let go at this moment of time? Well, speculation is roaming around. Could it potentially been that he asked for his release? Maybe he wanted to retire? Could it be the fact that maybe they wanted to get him another opportunity to join another team by cutting him now? Really don't know on exactly what's going on here. And generally, when it comes to speculation, I don't want to do it a whole lot on this channel because we really don't know. I think we just sit back and let the facts reveal itself. But if it was a straight-up release with no context, that seems pretty freaking cutthroat on your 40th birthday. Literally put a picture up of Don Muhlbach yesterday sitting on a rocking chair with a 40 on there. And he is beloved by players currently, former players, and coaches. So it seems like something completely different than what we've seen so far with this regime. As soon as we find out the context, we're definitely going to talk about it. But I don't want to get into these rumors and speculations as of yet because we really don't know. But I wish him nothing but the best. Don Muhlbach, awesome player for so long. Literally 20 years of my life was Don Muhlbach hurdling that ball behind his 2 points of contact and making sure it was a good snap. Comment on the video. Do you like the cut of Don Muhlbach? Why for yes and for no? I want to know what you guys think. It was definitely a surprise move. Let me know in the comment section. The Detroit Lions signed a quarterback, Jordan Ta'amu. Yes, the Lions got a new quarterback. Well, there is an injury to Tim Boyle, but could this possibly be a little bit more? Who knows? Well, Jordan Ta'amu, XFL guy, a dual threat quarterback, not old, and has some high qualities for him. The Detroit Lions would be able to use his skill set, again, doing a lot of rollouts as we've seen other quarterbacks do, making the play longer due to the fact that he's a dual threat, and he does have some decent throws. Still, he's a guy that's going to be the 4th quarterback on this roster, and I think it's extremely unlikely he makes this football team, but hey, I want to see what he brings in preseason, so hopefully he can last for 2 more preseason games because we've seen the quarterback situation behind Jared Goff, and Tim Boyle looked a little bit messy. Again, we're talking about the offensive line did not help them out, and I totally understand that. And we've seen David Blau for a couple years, and it looks like he has the upper hand. So why not bring in this young fellow and see if he can elevate this quarterback competition and bring a different dynamic that we haven't seen from a quarterback in a while. We have always had the standard stand-in-the-pocket quarterback. So, hey, maybe this could help out, extend plays, and get first downs. Let's see. All the chips are stacked against him, but hey, the chips were stacked against Craig Reynolds, the running back, and he came in and did a very good job. So we'll see with Jordan Ta'amu. The Lions signed a linebacker, Rashod Berry. He was signed initially by the New England Patriots as an undrafted free agent in 2020 NFL Draft. He was waived by the team and signed as a free agent rookie on the practice squad of the Patriots. And he was activated to the active roster against the Denver Broncos and the Chargers. Went back to the practice squad, activated again. So he is a guy that comes up and comes down. Yes, I know what you're saying. Lions signed a former Patriot. No to the nah. Totally get it from that aspect. Look, we've had a disaster with former Patriots, but we got a chance to see what this linebacker can do. And that is one position of need for the Detroit Lions, is the depth at the linebacker position. So I have no problem the Lions bringing this guy in. We got a couple preseason games. See if he can bring something to the table. There's a lot of players on this team, such as Jelani Tavai, that we've seen for a couple years. We know what they got with him. So maybe he can bring a different dynamic, and that could help out. Also, special teams. There's nothing wrong with looking at players to see that can help out on special teams, and I think Rashod Berry could be a guy from that aspect. With that said, still has a long chance to make the roster. We'll see what he does in preseason. Why not? Subscribe to the channel. Let's get to 15,000 subscribers. With your help, it can get done. We're almost there. We're about 14.5. So let's get to 15K and start this season out with a bang. Let's talk about Khalif Raymond in practice. Now, this is an interesting development. When I was at practice, there was a lot of drops by wide receivers. But there was one guy who was not making drops. Khalif Raymond was that guy. He was so noticeable because he's so small, and he was getting open and catching everything that came his way. When you have a player this small and he's consistently on an NFL football team, they bring some dynamic that is obviously a positive to a football team, and his catching ability and getting open seems to be just that. Now 2 practices in a row, Mr. Khalif Raymond has been practicing as the number 2 wide receiver opposite of Tyrell Williams. That is a straight-up interesting development, considering the fact that Breshad Perryman was supposed to be the number 2. Is this something that potentially could happen into the next preseason game, elevating the status to the number 2? Now, it's just 2 practices in a row, and that's okay, but we got a game coming up with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm curious to see where he starts. Does he start immediately with the first-string offense? And look, if the guy can catch a football and he can get open, I am fine with his size. Size at that point doesn't matter, because right now we have wide receivers who are not catching the football. So you could be big, you could have all the physical attributes. With that said, if you're not catching the football, it means nothing. At least this guy is getting open, catching the football, and he's squeaky clean about it. So I cannot wait to see what happens in preseason game. We got to keep an eye on this development. We've seen a couple players out of nowhere make some good jumps. We're talking about Mike Ford coming up, securing this nickel position as well as being on the outside. We've seen Anthony Pittman come up out of nowhere and start making moves for the linebacker position. Now we're seeing Khalif Raymond be one of these players as well. This is what you do want to see. Young talent making plays. When we talk about young talent, we got to talk about Levi Onwuzurike. He came in for his first padded practice so far. He's had an injury to his back. And what did he do? He did exceptionally well, blowing up the offensive line, potentially having a sack. Obviously, you're not going to hit the quarterback, but being a massive disruptor. This is awesome news. First, we need help upon the interior defensive line and the defensive line as a whole. That was an issue last year, and they put a lot of resources in it this year with Levi, with Aleem, with bringing players such as Brockers. He comes in and make an impact. That can really spell good news for the regular season and going forward. We've seen what happened in preseason 1. We were getting gashed like last year. But Levi wasn't in there. Nick wasn't in there. Michael Brockers wasn't in there. Bring in Levi. Now, if he can be up to this speed and continue to be a factor in the middle like we want him to be, man, oh man, sky is the limit. Imagine Levi Onwuzurike, Aleem McNeil side by side. 2 guys, 2 rookies being a big part of this defense for many years to come. So I am extremely excited to hear this development in practice, and I hope he can stay healthy. I hope he can continue to grow, because this is the type of stuff from young players that can really change the trajectory of a football team. Not saying we're going to win a billion games, not at all. But you have to hit on your draft picks, and you have to get impact players. Because if you don't draft right, you draft wrong, you have a situation where you end up with a bad roster like the last regimes, plural. We've been terrible with second-round draft picks. This potentially could be the end of the second-round woes for the Detroit Lions. Let's go ahead and talk about the Detroit Lions versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. First off, the bet line right now is the Lions as a plus 5.5. So they're the underdog. If you're trying to make some money, you can go ahead and bet on that. Remember, this is a preseason game. So for such a big high number like that, it seems a little bit odd. So maybe you can make some money. And how you do that, you go on chatsports.com/LionsBet, promo code Lions125. You get that 125% deposit bonus and make some money having fun with the Detroit Lions. You can do the over-under. It moved to 38. That is actually a decent ratio as well. So go ahead, make some money, sign up for some bets, and have some fun. Now let's get into what we want to see from the Lions versus Steelers. There is many things I'm looking forward to this game. Score not being one of them. Only if you're betting. 100%. Hey, if you're betting, you want to pay attention to the score because you want to make some money. That's perfectly fine. But if you're looking at a talent evaluation perspective, do not care what the end game is for this. Don't care who wins this game. That means nothing. I'm going to continue to say that. 0-16, we're 4-0 in the preseason. 2011, we're 4-0 in the preseason. Guess what? One went 0-16, the other one made the playoffs, yet it was the same still outcome of victories. So let's not worry about that. But there are things we're going to look at. Levi Onwuzurike and Aleem McNeil. Levi gets to make his debut. Hopefully, it's looking like he's going to make his debut. How can this interior defensive line really do well against Najee Harris? Najee Harris, a very good running back, rookie the Steelers picked up. This is a good test for this young interior defensive line. If we can stop the bleeding from what we did last week, that spells a little bit better news, because this team can run the football and they have a lot of power involved. What can this interior do to slow it down? Can the Lions' defensive tackles get some pass rush? We've seen the ends get at it last week. Fantastic. But let's see what the interior can do, Levi specifically. Khalif Raymond as the number 2 wide receiver. Is he going to be the number 2? We will see. And that is going to be interesting if he starts as the number 2. Also, how does the first string offense do? Last week, we started off rough with the first drive. Can the Detroit Lions start off decent, not rough? Can they do a scoring drive? Can they get a touchdown with the first string offense? We've seen them in the second drive able to drive a long drive, which is great, but we did not score a touchdown, in which resolves in losses. You have to score touchdowns. So can the first string offense do that? The development of Jared Goff with this new offensive scheme, I want to see if he got better from last week. And obviously the backup quarterback position. Who's going to be there? Tim Boyle was a little bit injured. Does Jordan Ta'amu come in and make some plays? Want to see that. Now, when we go to the defense, can a linebacker make a play? We've seen Derek Barnes. He did well. I'm excited, so I want to see how he does. Can he do and replicate what he did versus the Bills? Jamie Collins, kind of already know what he got there from him, so if he doesn't play or if it's extremely limited, I'm perfectly fine with that. But I want to see Jalen Reeves-Maybin, and I want to see Jelani Tavai and Anthony Pittman. One of these guys need to stand out. We know what we got with the other players, but we don't know what we got with them. And if this team can get a little bit better, if one of these guys can stand out, that would be good, because we have some issues with the middle of the field. The kicking game, I want to see the kicking game. That's really important. Yes, special teams. How can these guys convert and get some points? Because that is a battle going on for the Lions right now. And special teams, can they do the great coverage that they've continued last week and last year? That's really important. Can Amon-Ra St. Brown continue to be dominant? A lot of things to look at.